Hello grade 12 AS level students. Right now I'm going to tell you that we are in this grade 12 for AS level we are going to study about organic chemistry in the AS level. So we start from chapter 12, Introduction to Organic Chemistry. In this organic chemistry, we know that organic chemistry consisting of element carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, and also that could be nitrogen and sulfur. So let's see the introduction. At one time there were thought two entirely different classes of chemical substances. Those compounds that had been isolated from the living world from organisms were called organic substances. On the other hand, those elements and compounds occurring in rocks and minerals or made from them by chemical reactions were called inorganic substances. We already learned the inorganic substances. Now we are learning the organic. It was clear that both types of substances were made from the same elements. For example, carbon dioxide produced by the fermentation of glucose, and that obtained by burning of alcohol that is also produced during fermentation, were the same compound as that obtained by heating limestone. So, carbon dioxide can be produced by inorganic reactions, also can be produced by organic reactions. Let's continue. Carbon dioxide is inorganic compound. It is accepted that inorganic compounds could be made from organic compounds, but for many years the reverse process was considered to be impossible. Many ancient doctrines included the concept of vitalism, by which it was believed without much justification that a vital life force was needed to make organic compounds, so they could only be synthesized within living organisms. Credit for shattering of this belief is normally given to the German chemist Friedrich Wöhler, who in 1828 transformed the essentially inorganic salt ammonium cyanide into organic compound carbamide or urea. Okay, so this is the formula of urea. This is the ammonium cyanide. So there is a heat involved in ammonium cyanide that become organic, which is urea. Okay, let's see the stability and variety of organic compounds. Today, organic chemicals artificially made or naturally occurring outnumber inorganic ones by 80 to the ratio 1. The number well over 10 million different compounds, hundreds of thousands of new compounds are being made each year. Why are there so many of them? There are two main reasons. Carbon atoms form strong bond with other carbon atoms. So one carbon atom can make a bond to 4 different group of atoms, or can bond to 4 different elements. So if there are many carbon atoms, there form many bonds. In general, organic compounds are kinetically stable. We shall look at each of these reasons in turn. The ability of carbon to form strong bonds to other carbon atoms. So this one is the bonding. The bond energy, bond enthalpy. The carbon-carbon bond is 346, which is the highest compared to other elements. Carbon-carbon bonding allows chains and rings of carbon atoms to be produced by a process is called catenation. Catenation, it means that one carbon can make 4 different bonds. Okay, let's continue. There are 4 different ways in which we can arrange the carbon. It can form aliphatic. This is an aliphatic straight chain. This one is a isomer. This one is also another isomer. This is form a cyclo. This one also form a cyclo with an aliphatic. So there are with 5 carbon atoms, there are 10 different arrangements, and with 6 carbon atoms, there are no fewer than 17. So if we have 30 carbon atoms, there are more than 4 times 10 to the power of 9 different ways of arranging them. Okay, this is what does it mean by different ways? Different ways of arranging them means the isomers. Okay, the stability of organic compounds. The second reason why there are so many organic compounds is a more subtle one. Once they have been formed, organic compounds are remarkably stable. This stability is more kinetic than thermodynamic. For example, although methane is thermodynamically stable with respect to its elements, it is unstable in the presence of oxygen. In the presence of oxygen, the alkene can react to form carbon dioxide and water, or we call as combustion. Okay, so for methane along with other hydrocarbons and most other organic compounds does not react with oxygen unless heated to a quite high temperature, the ignition point or the burning point. So next, this first combustion is involving the breaking of CH bond. This involves the input of 439 kilojoule of energy per mole, which is a large value. Organic compounds are thermodynamically unstable not only with respect to oxidation but often also with respect to other transformations. For example, the hydration of ethene to ethanol, which is the process is exothermic, as is joining of 3 molecules of ethane to form benzene. And this one, there are many reactions that stating how stable the organic compound is. So there are many organic compounds than the inorganic. Now the shapes of organic molecules. The shape of organic molecule that we already learned in previous chapter when we were in grade 11 about the shapes of molecules. Shape of molecules depend on the number of lone pairs and bone pairs. There is a repulsion between lone pair, which is the biggest, and followed by the repulsion between the lone pair and the bone pair, and then the least is the bone pair with bone pair. Let's see it here. We now know that this one CO2 is 180 degrees. There are 2 bone pairs. In fact, in CO2 there are 4 bone pairs, but 0 lone pairs in the central carbon atom. That makes the arrangement to be seem like 2 bone pair. So it is a line, straight line. Similar to HCN, also the same. Let's see the hybridization. Hybridization is how the electron of the atom would range. SP, hybridization of SP, it is in chapter 3, subchapter 14, 3.14. The hybridization, I expect that you still remember about hybridization. If the molecule containing only single covalent bond, then the hybridization would be sp3. If there is a double bond, then the second bond has the hybridization of sp2. If there are 3 or triple covalent bond, it means the second and the third covalent bond would have the sp hybridization. So in CO2 and HCN, they have sp hybridization. In the formula of ethene, it has sp2. Why? Because the double bond overcomes the single covalent bond. And then in CH4, there is a sp3 hybridization. If you want to recall again about the hybridization, you may refer to chapter 3, section 14, 3.14. Okay, in each molecule, carbon atoms, carbon dioxide and hydrogen cyanide, in the first row of the table 12.2, the 3 atoms are collinear. They are in the straight line. But in the molecule of ethene, all the 6 atoms are coplanar, meaning they lie all in the same plane. Ethene is a 2-dimensional molecule. Methane, however, is a 3-dimensional molecule, and its shape cannot be easily represented on a 2-dimensional page. We use a stereochemical formula to show this. Okay, what is the stereochemical formula? Later we are going to see when we are studying the other section of this chapter. Different types of formula: empirical formula and molecular formula. All of us already know, and including you, already able to derive the calculation of empirical formula and also the molecular formula. There is a structural formula. You learn about the term structural formula when we studied about IGCSE in grade 10. So it is only about the structures. And then the displayed formula. Display formula is similar to the structural formula. But in structural formula showing the component, the element CH only, but in the displayed formula there is a stick that connect all the elements, all the atoms. And then stereochemical formula. Now this one, as I told you, there is a stereochemical formula. Although the displayed formula tells us much about a molecule, it indicates nothing about its shape. It is difficult to represent the shape of a 3-dimensional molecule on a 2-dimensional page. So we use the conventions of stereochemical formula to illustrate the figure 12.4. So this is the methane. Okay, this one is on the side, this one on top, this one is front, this one is at the back. So it has tetrahedral structure. This is the stereochemical formula. So you learn already many formula, and there is still skeletal formula, or it is only the skeleton. The skeleton, we do not draw the carbon because carbon is the backbone, so we show the carbon as a dot, connect dot, and then there is a double bond O and H. Okay, only carbon we draw as dots. Next, this one, representation of carbon rings in formula. So this is the in the skeletal formula, the display formula, and then also this one is the stereochemical formula. Okay, next this one, all the structures or the formulas, and then naming organic compound. As was mentioned earlier, organic compounds were originally extracted from living organisms. The sensible way of naming them incorporated the name of a Latin version of the plant or animal concerned. Some common examples are given in table 12.3. So there is a formic acid. It is from the ant's bite. Contains formic acid that makes itchy on our skin. It is, the Latin name is formica. And then there is a malic acid. It is the acid in apples. When we eat an apple, there is a sour. The sour is due to malic acid. The Latin name is malus. And then there is a common name menthol, isolated from peppermint. So this is the Latin name is Mentha piperita. And then there is an oxalic acid is wood sorrel, is called, the Latin name is oxalis. As some or more organic compounds were discovered during the 18th and 19th century, this naming system became increasingly unsatisfactory for two reasons. It could not be applied to those compounds made artificially in the laboratory. The feat of memory required for a chemist to be able to relate the structure to its name was becoming too great. So, in order to make the naming, so scientists decided that there is a stem names and the number of carbon atoms they represent. If 1 meth, 2 F, 3 prop, 4 but, 5 pent, 6 hex, 7 hept, 8 oct, and then 9 nona, and then 10 deca. Next, these are the prefix. Now this one is the suffix. If an means all single bond. If en contains double bond. If diene, 2 double bonds. If triene, 3 double bonds. If yn, it means it containing triple bond. Example is ethane, single bond. Propene, en, containing double bond. And then if there is a butadiene, it contains 2 double bonds. And then there is we have to write Arabic numerals may be added before the stem suffix to show the position of any double bond. So the Arabic numerals added to show the position of any double bond, like this one, buta 1.3 diene. It means the position of double bond is in the carbon number 1 and carbon number 3. A suffix indicates any oxygen containing group that might be present. For example, al, aldehyde, on, ketone, all alcohol group. And then there is oic acid, carboxylic acid group. So these are the example. One or more prefixes, this indicate non-oxygen containing group with other carbon or alkyl groups, or this is the branch. So it become the methyl, ethyl, propyl, butyl, pentyl, hexyl, heptyl, and then until decyl. And there is if containing halogen atom, chloro, bromo, hydroxy, any other prefixes. Okay, so like in this one, propan 2-ol, the position of the OH in the second carbon atom, and there are 3 carbon atoms. Next. Okay, so our learning today is from 12.1 until 12.5, only the structure and naming of the molecule.